Hello, this is Wenda O'Neill from O'Neill Artworks Designs, and today I'm just going to go over how to actually access and use the 3D print files, the SVG files. This is Cricut Design Space. I'm just going to open up a new project, choose Upload, and if you hadn't already navigated and put it here in your recently uploaded photos, you would choose Upload Image, browse for that image, and then upload it. Cricut Design Space brings it in here, shows you information, you can name it, whatever. I just save it. Select it, and then choose Insert Images. Now I've packed the images into what looks like a mishmash. What I like to do, I do that because resizing it is easier. They're all going to be basically the same size. But if you want to see everything individually, you can just simply right click and choose Ungroup. And what that does is it allows you to pick out each piece. Once you pick out the pieces, then you can resize the individual squares. So I'm just going to make these 7.9 because I have 8.5 by 11 paper. So any much bigger than that, and I run into problems cutting the edges with the 8.5 by 11. So as you can see, all I'm doing is I'm selecting a layer and then I'm going up to the size. Because the size is locked, I only need to adjust one side, and the other automatically gets corrected. So now all of my slides, all of my pieces are the same size. I'm just going to choose the Make It button. Today I'm going to print the second slide because somebody specifically asked me about the lettering and it wasn't coming out correctly for them. Their machine wasn't quite cutting it right. So I'm going to show you how I cut it in my example. I'm going to select the second slide, choose Continue, and now when the machine comes to the part where it recognizes my machine, one of the things that I do is I adjust the weight of the paper. Because I'm using 100-pound paper, I want to make sure that the machine knows the exact cardstock that I'm using. So I have a couple of favorite cardstocks so that I don't have to always go into the browse materials. But if this was set to default, you just would select browse, and then I typed cardstock here. It brought me to the available cardstocks, and actually 100-pound cardstock is exactly what I'm using. So that's what I choose. So when you choose the cardstock, you actually have a choice of also selecting pressure. The default pressure has the machine cut all of the cuts. I think it's 2 or 3 times. So it really makes sure that it gets through the paper and all of your cuts are really nice and precision. I leave it on default and then I just send it to the printer. So I'm going to switch now to my camera on my phone so that I can show you how I set all of that up. And don't laugh at my workspace. I love it, but it is 5:30 in the morning. So it's a little dark. All right, let's see. Switching to my phone now. Hello. Okay, so this is my computer. You were just looking at my computer screen. This is my board that I'm going to put into my Cricut machine, and it's an 8.5 by 11 cardstock, 100 pound. So let's just put it in here. Put this nice. Put that button. Oh, I don't want to pull it out. And go. So what is happening is that the machine is actually cutting each cut, I think it's 2 or 3 times. And when it comes to the snowflakes that are on this particular page, they look very messy, but you'll see in the end when I pull up the actual cut page that it is really super nice and very, very precision. So I'm just going to fast forward to the end when the machine ejects this page so that you can see that I'm not, doing anything special. Well, you can see it's still cutting. You can't see what it's cutting because it's pretty dark this early in the morning. But I wanted to mention that in order for me to set my design space to be able to select the cardstock and what I want, I have to actually put the dial on custom. Okay, so here it is cut. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it off and see if I can show you how I remove everything. So that's the part I don't need. I'm going to see if I can keep this on camera. So what I do is because it's cardstock and I don't want to bend the paper, I carefully I bend the board. This is a new board, it's a little sticky. Let me take out this center here. So I'm just going to lift this up, try not to tear any of it. So these little curlicues are what will catch you. And then there you have it. So it's all about really making sure that your cardstock really cuts. If it doesn't, then it's going to leave behind some of the pieces that you really need. So this letter here was the problem for one of my customers. And I think what was happening is that it wasn't quite cutting and it was getting torn. So maybe the key here is to make sure that you've got the machine set to custom and you have it selected to cut the paper. This is the exact file that I uploaded on my Etsy shop. I re-downloaded it just to make sure that there wasn't any difference. So there isn't.